During the adjournment debate in Parliament yesterday, United National Party parliamentarian Tissa Thanayaka proposed the appointment of a parliamentary subcommittee to investigate the importation of substandard fuel. Minister of Petroleum Industries Susil Premachandra responded to this.
It is evident that none of the recommendations made by the committee appointed by the minister to look into the importation of oil were implemented. Furthermore, compensation was not obtained from anyone. Measures were not taken to obtain the required compensation from the company that supplied oil. Attempts are being made to cover up the incident. We are asking for those responsible to be punished and to compensate the affected parties. We are also asking for a parliamentary subcommittee to be appointed to inquire into this matter. According to the Petroleum Corporation Act and as per the powers vested in the minister, the Auditor General was informed through the Secretary to the Ministry to commence investigations immediately and to issue an audit report on the spot purchases that took place a year ago. Once we obtain this committee report, measures will be taken. Also, based on the audit report, action will be taken on those responsible for that entire year. Furthermore, based on the laboratory report, we have already issued a protest note to the companies involved and legal action will be taken. We have implemented the committee reports pertaining to the previous petrol problem.
Still in news from the Parliament, Democratic National Alliance parliamentarian Anru Kumara Disanayaka raised a question understanding orders in Parliament today regarding the job security of those serving in the Civil Defence Department.
Measures have been taken to turn the Civil Defence Force into a department, but steps have not been taken to ensure a permanent position and pension for those serving in the Civil Defence Force. A proper promotion mechanism has also not been prepared. The most problematic factor here is that these persons have no proper duty or occupation. I hope the Minister can make some clarification to this chamber on the following questions which have arisen in this backdrop. 1. When will steps be taken to institute a pension for those serving in the force, and when will they be given permanent positions and given a proper duty or occupation? 2. How are the incomes that they earn from chain of farming, baking bricks, shepherding and fishing being accounted? How much of an income do they make through these? And 3. Is compensation being paid to CDF personnel who sustain injuries while engaging in the aforementioned occupations?
Moving to news from back here at home, opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe says that as a result of the prevailing trend of child molestation, even small children are not safe on the streets. Wickremesinghe expressed this view during a meeting with UNP organisers today.
The meeting was held at the UNP headquarters, Sirikota. An editor had questioned the President on the situation with regard to child molestation. Who are the people responsible for these incidents? Local level alliance politicians. The largest number of rape incidents have been reported from Tangol. 100. They can mark the anniversary. It is a record. Look at how many rapes have been reported from Kahawatta. Rapes are being reported from Akurassa. Who are the people responsible for this? There are the Chandimallis, Amares, Wambottas and Patholas in these areas. The police in the country has been politicized. They are scared to take action.
United National Party parliamentarian Karu Jayasuriya states that the government is breaking election regulations in an alarming manner. He made this allegation during a media briefing today.
We have to speak about the manner in which this government uses helicopters. We have received reports on how they use helicopters for election purposes unlike never before. If we mention to you the extent to which this helicopter mania has spread, it was reported in the newspapers recently that the government is planning to buy 14 Mi-71 helicopters using foreign loans. We do not see the need for 14 helicopters. The war and the terrorist activities are over. We do not see the need to waste money in this manner simply because they received a loan.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna says that at a time when the country is facing a massive financial crisis, the government's lavish spending is incomprehensible.
The
the spending patterns of this government and its economic management is incomprehensible given the economic and financial crisis the country is facing. The country continues to be in the red because of the crisis facing the economy. A loss of 21.6 billion rupees has been incurred through the hedging deal, not counting the interest. The money lost in the hedging deal could have been used to pay some of the benefits and farmers' pensions for 2 years. Instead, they have gambled it all away.
You're watching News First. Up next is Action TV.
With the closure of the Hingurana sugar factory, permission was granted for the cultivation of paddy on certain lands which were used for growing sugarcane. However, instead of the cultivation of paddy, what has been taking place here is sand mining, which is washing away the fertile soil.
No one has been granted a permit to remove sand or mine for sand from the Galdoy River in the area which comes under the purview of the Ampara Pradesh Sabha. On occasions, we have even banned the licenses of individuals who mine sand from the river in an inappropriate manner.
However, before the official who made this clarification took office, the Assistant Divisional Secretary addressed a letter in September 2011 stating that if the relevant institutions grant approval, the Divisional Secretariat has no opposition to the removal of sand which had been washed up by flood waters. On the 23rd of November 2011, the Geological Survey and Mines Bureau issued a license valid for 3 months for clearing away the sand which had been washed up by the flood waters. However, the Ampara District Mining Engineer of the Bureau had fraudulently extended this time frame to a year, even though the licensee had violated the conditions of the license. On Sunday, following strong protests made by area residents, the police arrived at the location, resulting in the group that had been engaged in sand mining fleeing the area, leaving behind the mining equipment. The police who took this machine into their custody spun an amazing story in court the next day. The police informed court that as the vehicle had been discovered by them in Galloya, they had to hand it back to the owner. An individual who had turned up in court established his ownership right and took over the machine. Accordingly, will this environment destruction go on record as having been committed by an unidentified group? Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Eastern Province, this one is over to you.